Most developers don't fail because they're not smart. They fail because they're just doing the wrong things, and that's okay. It's okay to fail. It's okay to get back up and learn from those experiences and get better. But it's those developers that keep doing the same thing over and over again to where they fail constantly and they never learn. And maybe it's because of ego. Maybe it's because they feel like they have to prove themselves to other people. I'm here to tell you right now, you don't have to prove yourself to anybody but yourself. Once all this is said and done, once you start figuring out things, people are not going to care, but you should be happy with the results that you get. All right. So there are a couple mistakes that hold back developers from getting the promotion that they want or achieving the goals that they want and making progress and actually showing that they know what they're doing. And I've been privy to this in my 12 years of experience as a software engineer, developer. I moved around. I've done a lot of great things. I was a web designer, then I became a web developer, QA engineer. I've been around everywhere. I didn't really push myself to learn the fundamentals of front-end development, to learn what it takes to be a software engineer and understand the back end and all these different things. I started to learn when I started to fail. There's a story on my YouTube channel if you want to check it out. It's called The Worst Hackathon Experience I Ever Have. I'll have an annotation here in the video so you could take a look at that. But that was an eye-opener for me, and never again did I make the same mistakes. So you got to go through pain in order to make progress. And some of you guys, I don't know what's going on, you just give up. If it's too hard, you give up. You think AI is taking your position because it knows more than you and all that stuff, instead of learning with it and actually growing your knowledge around different areas that are valuable to companies. It's all on you, bro. I'm gonna give you guys a couple mistakes that you are making, or what you're currently making, or what you can make, that's gonna halt you into becoming a developer or even getting better at that. So the first mistake is tutorial addiction. Now, I know all you guys love to do tutorials. You love to sit here for 3-4 hours, watch someone build a clone of an app, and then put your name on it and say, hey, I built that. Listen, if you want to learn the fundamentals, that might be the way to go. If you were to do one tutorial and learn as much as you can and actually stop at different points to understand what's being done and understand exactly why this function is being created, what this state is holding, why are we working with these particular technologies or frameworks to build this particular app, you're going to see why this framework works versus the other framework. Depending on what you're trying to do and what you're trying to learn, that's something that you have to dive into. Not just sitting there for 3 hours and then watching someone tell you what they're building. Copying and pasting code doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't really show that you know the fundamentals, because the fundamentals are going to take you so much further. If you understand how to solve problems from a logical standpoint, so you have to understand, like, developers, we use our brain every single day at a certain capacities. If you are not in that mode to solve problems, no matter how small or big it is, you are going to fail. And you might solve one problem, another problem, and then you try to take on a really complex problem and think you can hit it head on, and you're going to run into a roadblock. You're going to suck. And it is what it is. But you have to learn how to deal with complex problems. The first thing you would do is understand the problem. What problem are we trying to solve? What is the use cases? If you understand that, then start breaking that problem down into smaller pieces. It's very simple, but you have to start creating these habits to do it. Not just being like, hey, I'm just going to work on this, or have AI do all the work for you. No one's learning at that point. Not retaining any knowledge of what you learned doing these tutorials. I used to do maybe 3 or 4 tutorials within a year, 3 hours, 4 hours here, and try to learn React.js and MySQL and Python all in one go. And then I realized I didn't remember half the shit that was in these videos. Nothing. So I had to really figure out, what is the next step? If I can't get it, I can't learn on the job, even though that's possible, but I was even failing there. So what can I do? I went on Udemy because a coworker had told me at the time, it was like, hey, if you go on udemy.com, there's a bunch of different courses that you could choose from, and they're very cheap. You should definitely look into it and see if there's anything valuable there. So I did that, and it was a React.js course with Redux, and I learned how to build an application with React the right way with functional components. So once I understood that, I was like, cool. I was able to refactor the code that we had at my last company with a project and understand that the components weren't created correctly. We were doing a lot of nesting of components, and that's a big no-no. You should only go at least 2 levels deep. If you go anywhere over 2, you're then running into data issues to where you don't know where the data is coming from. I was able to refactor things. I was able to grasp what we needed to fix. And I was really good at solving problems at this point. All right. And I moved on to different projects. If you're not problem solving, if you're not retaining that information, it's going to be a real problem. All right. Mistake number 2 is avoiding difficulty. The one thing I loved about what I do is that I am faced with challenges every single day, whether it's code review, whether it's understanding business logic, whether it's breaking down a big project and talking to the stakeholders about what needs to be done. That's my bread and butter now. The more I was put into those uncomfortable situations where I had to learn the problem, I had to speak effectively about how I'm going to solve this problem, create documentation around how we're going to be implementing a solution to this problem based on the architecture, how the system should work from front end, back end, in the middle layer and all that stuff. That's something that I had to do. I did not have any experience with that. So once I started putting myself into those uncomfortable rooms where you were grilled on what needed to be done and how to do it, everything became easier. So you guys have to really start pushing yourself to be uncomfortable every single day, because if you don't, you're going to stay the same and you're not going to grasp the fundamentals a lot quicker. Even if you're using AI, you can rely on AI to do everything for you. But honestly, bro, I'm going to just keep it a buck with you, bro. AI can get things wrong all the time. You have to understand, you prompt it to do something, bro, it's going to make mistakes. There's been times where I was working on a project. I gave it the scope of what needed to be built on the front end. It built it, but then it was a lot of different things wrong. And then I had to go in and clean the code up myself or reprompt and show AI, hey, this requirement hasn't been hit yet. Can you change the code to do this? And the more context that you give AI, the better it will be. Being naive to that and just allowing AI to do everything, you're gonna run into a lot of problems. And then you're gonna have to refactor your code again. You're gonna have to deal with any security vulnerabilities. You're gonna have to deal with answering tough questions and being stuck looking like a deer in the headlights like, I don't know, AI did it. That's not an acceptable answer. Start using these tools to your advantage. Start doing the hard things every single day and challenge yourself. Maybe not use AI and try to solve a problem by yourself, right? Using your brain. Think logically. The more repetitions that you put into this, the better you're gonna be. Number 3 is there's no real projects. You're just working on a weather app, a clone of an app. You're not solving a real world problem that is an issue, and there's no solution to that. You're just basing it off of what everybody else is doing. My advice to you, and I'm gonna keep it very simple for you guys to understand, is figure out a problem that you want to solve and start building a project that solves that problem. Point blank, period. It's not that hard. Use AI to help you plan out what you need to do to solve the problem, what frameworks you're going to be using, and get to work. Start building projects to where like it shows that you put in a lot of time and work and you understand the problem that you're trying to solve. And you understand the code base and you're able to explain it effectively when you're doing these interviews or you're just doing a show and tell. You should be an expert like me talking, not just being like, I don't know, like this is what the problem we're trying to solve here. And we're using React, we're using C# on the back end, and we're interchanging. No one cares about that. They just care about what problem you're trying to solve. Number 4 is ignoring the fundamentals. Let me tell you, you can't just rush into learning frameworks and think that you're going to be good as a developer. You have to learn the basics of JavaScript to even understand React. Some people are lucky to just learn React and they get it right away, right? But if you understand the basics of JavaScript, it should be easy enough for you to create components in React, understand how those components work, how to understand exactly what state is, what properties are, understanding how TypeScript is very beneficial when it comes to building out these components, and go with that standard. A lot of companies are looking for developers that are really good, at least with React.js focus, people that are really good with TypeScript. That is the standard today. If you don't know TypeScript, it's going to be hard for you to do it. So understand the fundamentals of JavaScript, TypeScript, understand the fundamentals of APIs, how they work, systems at its core. How does your front end interact with the back end, and what is the workflow there? Is there business logic on the front end, or does it live in the back end? If you can't answer that question and you have everything on the front end, immediate fail. If I see any back end code on the front end layer of your project, I'm automatically gonna think you don't know what you're doing. The fundamentals are important, bro. If you don't do it, you're never gonna get anywhere. And using AI right now to supplement your learning is crucial. Number 5 is not using AI correctly. You're just vibe coding, bro. You're just prompting and it's like, hey, here's the output. It looks good to me. I'm just gonna accept it. No, especially if you are not an expert in AI and you haven't been prompting because you feel like it's cheating, just start using it. Mind blowing. You know, you guys got to be really mindful with AI and actually learn with it and know when it's giving you complete and total BS versus an actual solution. This is why prompting skills is very important. Number 6, all right, lack of ownership. Some of you guys are just waiting for a handout. Some of you guys are not putting in the work and thinking, well, if someone doesn't tell me to do it, I'm not going to do it. If you see a problem, figure out a solution and do it yourself. Don't wait for someone to give you permission to do it. In my career, I made sure that any problem that I saw, I brought it up to the right people. And I was like, listen, I'm going to get this done regardless. You know what I'm saying? That helped me with taking accountability for what I'm doing. And then also, too, a lot of people started coming to me for not only advice, but also they relied on me to get things done because I showed them like, hey, I understand this problem the best I can. I could explain exactly what's going on, what the solution I'm going to be implementing. Are you guys cool with it? We have an open discussion. We make adjustments. Then I go to work. And then the work speaks for itself. So if you're able to find a problem right now that you're passionate about solving and you put in the work with AI to do it, bro, it's going to help you tenfold because you're going to be an expert at solving this problem. If you're waiting for direction and you're waiting for people to tell you what to do, you're always going to be in the shadows. You're never going to be in the forefront. It is what it is, what I got to say about that. But if you don't take any ownership right now in you becoming a developer and learning, you're never going to get there. The more you're able to talk effectively about solving these problems, the better everything will be. It's that simple. So take ownership right now. Stop BSing, man. As a developer that's been in the game for 12 years, I would say I started hitting my stride in like 6 years or so. And the one thing that I did was actually build real things. I started breaking things early, writing code just to see if it works or not, and then breaking it, creating infinite loops on certain things. I've done that before, bringing down databases. I've done the whole thing. Trust me, I am accountable for those decisions and I learn from those decisions. But the more you stay safe around that, you're not going to learn anything. You're not going to have any hardship when it comes to that. This is why it's very important that you guys really hone in on making mistakes early and often. Do the things that you want to do. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be the greatest thing in the world, but having a blueprint for something is better than having nothing at all. But that's it, guys. That's the video. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. You know what I'm saying? If you want to schedule a one-on-one with me, I have a link in the description. We could talk about, you know, your goals for tech. If you want me to do your code review, understand your projects and all that stuff, anything that you're lacking in, hit that link in the description, man. Schedule a one-on-one, man. You know what I'm saying? We could work together. That's it. So hope everybody has a great day and talk to you soon.